Welcome to EnneaQuest and a very sparkly Saffron. How are you this evening, Saffron?
I am very well, thank you. I don't know what's going on with my lighting. Please forgive me. I am looking very sparkly tonight. Thank you. Maybe
Yeah,
because we're talking about energy.
must be. It is the general theme is very sparkly,
Yeah,
it seems, which is a good thing.
maybe.
And you just came back from a very energetic place, Vegas. I see you had a quick stop over in Atlanta as well. Did you have a good trip?
Yes, I had a great trip. Thank you. You know, Vegas is a cruel and magical mistress, and she certainly drew me into her magic. So, yeah, I definitely think that Las Vegas is a sexual four with a
Yeah.
three wing.
Yes. Okay. Sexual
Mm.
four with a three wing. Oh, that's interesting. I spent some time in Vegas as well. Well, just a quick visit, but um, I can see that. Yeah, yeah,
Mm.
very creative. Um, and I mean that's very energy driven, isn't it? There's a lot of palpable energy
Yes.
there. People kind of, I don't know. It's like, yeah, the connection to it is quite concrete.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's the connection to, like, for me, Vegas is the kind of best of humanity and the worst of humanity, and the best of America and the worst of America, and a sort of microcosm of everything that the world is
Mm.
in terms of like profound dysfunction, but also total functionality at the same time. Vegas is just extremes of everything. And it's in the middle of the freaking desert, even in
I
its
know.
very,
Yeah, yeah,
oh,
yeah. No,
yeah,
it's crazy. It's beautiful and scary and all of those things all at the same time. So
yeah.
I'm very glad you enjoyed it. We are kind of going into energies. This is our second one on this, and I was thinking about it this morning. You know, harmonizing life's energies with the Enneagram. You're in the southern hemisphere, so you are entering a completely different energy than I am here in the northern hemisphere.
Yeah.
I'm feeling it quite intensely. You can see the lights are already different. It's We're heading into darkness. Our times are going to change in 2 weeks time, and it's like restful. So it made me think a bit of how adaptable the different types are in the Enneagram. You know, is there a difference in how easily the types adapt as you know, as the lead types? Is it easier for some types to kind of let go? I suppose the theme of letting go is quite big in this autumn um, space that we are in, or is it more to do with awareness? I suppose integration of the different types.
Yeah, so it's a really interesting question, and I have two parts to my answer.
Mm.
The first part is that there are indeed three types on the Enneagram that are more adaptable than the other six types.
Mm.
As there are three types on the Enneagram that are more assertive or outward moving,
Yeah.
as there are three types that are more withdrawn.
Mm.
So when you talk about being able to adapt, we also need to, so there's that.
Yeah.
Then we also need to consider that, you know, there are different expressions of adaptation.
Hmm.
So I guess we could talk about it from that perspective. And then I do think that your level of awareness increases, so your increased level of awareness increases your capacity to be agile and adaptable and accommodating. But I would say that would be in a healthy, conscious way, as opposed to in the other ways that are to do with the addiction that is our coping strategy, which I could talk you through now, if that were interesting for you.
Yes. Okay. They all sound fascinating, of course, all these kind of aspects to them. So you take me down the rabbit hole and I'll follow.
Great. Yay. So, okay. So the types that tend to be really adaptable, as opposed to assertive and withdrawn. Hold on for me, please. Sorry, I have to do the whole map. So withdrawn, adaptable, and then assertive, and then withdrawn, adaptable. Okay, so yeah, the types that we consider to be adaptable, really good at adapting, would be the 1 on the Enneagram, the 6 on the Enneagram, and the 3 on the Enneagram.
Mm-hmm.
They adapt anyway, so they would express their adaptation differently. And then other types that look like they are adapting, but they're actually withdrawing, but we don't really notice because they're withdrawing. So we think they're your 9s, your 5s, and your 4s. So when we talk about adapting, I think that's the word that we sort of looking at through the lens of the Enneagram this evening, because it is a very important word. I think, I would say those 6 types look the most adaptable. But again, we have to be clear on adapting, the adapting types versus the withdrawal types. And I think that when we're harmonizing energies, it's about seeing all these different possibilities of withdrawal, with adaptation, and with being assertive or disruptive even, because I think all of them belong. It's just dependent on the situation and the people and the circumstance and the best solution for everything at hand, if that makes sense. And I think that's the purpose of the Enneagram.
Could I introduce sensitivity into this? Is it that, because it's almost for me the 9, 5, and the 4, which you say withdraw more, are they maybe more sensitive, that it's part of that coping mechanism of I actually don't want to deal with it, the overwhelm or the energy that is out there?
No, definitely. I mean, it's just the way 9s, 5s, and 4s cope. It's not good or bad, right or wrong. It's just going into an internal experience, an internal world where the real or imagined is the way they cope. It's just the way it is. It's like, and you don't, when you're in there and when you're living in that reality, it's not even like you realize anybody does anything different. I mean, as a 7, I go into the external world and I get distracted in the external and all the ideas and all that I've got to do and all the things I'm busy with, and that's just as distracting. Or and I work on creating more of an internal experience.
So harmonizing.
Whereas you might work now on creating a more external experience, and again, for whatever's appropriate. It's just to become aware of it.
Yes. And to to create that balance, to go, okay, this is my nature almost, I suppose. And of course that is still, I've just been thinking about this as a 4, and I suppose, as who I am, and going into this yin energy of winter, or that it's really loud out there. It's like it's all this stuff is happening, and to be creative, to carry on with a sense of focus on what I need to do in my world. I need to block that out a bit, just to not be so distracted, I suppose, as part of the cycle.
Yeah, I suppose, yes. And you're right. It is a cycle, and we are a cyclical, organic, live being. So you are correct. We do need the hibernation time, the off time, the down time, the winter, the darkness. Yeah, so you are right. And I think the Enneagram, because of this sort of what we call the law of 3, because everything happens in threes. You've got your lead type and then your 2 others, your lead type and your wings. You've got one of 3 subtypes that's dominant and dormant. Everything happens in threes. I think that offers up a huge gift into balance and harmonizing energies and understanding as you say, the sort of what I would describe as our tendency versus where we could expand ourselves into, so that we could maximize the benefit of our experience, whatever that experience might be.
Yeah. And even looking at life as being the experience, the chosen, the soul's choice of experience in this incarnation of or manifestation, or however you want to see it, through whichever lens.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Yeah. And the threes, I mean, I'm at the moment fascinated by how everything is in threes, how, from this really old symbolism of the triskelion, the runes, all of these things are divided into threes, and there's meaning and structure and connection within that. So it is drawn through all of it.
And the Enneagram is the same. The law of 3, and all, if you divide it up, it's all into threes and triangles, and it's profound, actually.
Yeah. And then obviously 9 is 3 threes, so it is all based in that. Yeah.
And that's why I say, finding the Enneagram or discovering this beautiful system is really cool, but really powerful and really magical is when you find your lead type.
Yeah.
And not only because of the journey that it can give you, powerful, powerful growth journey it can give you just from the lead type's perspective, but then when you continue that journey into the masterclass around your developmental lines and really going into, like in your case, the 1 and the 2, along with the 4, that is really powerful when you start to unravel the map. It really is. I always think it's like Lord of the Rings. It's like you found what you're looking for.
Yeah. With the base of awareness, I don't think we can do that integration if we're not aware of how we are responding to the energies around us.
Exactly. And I think that one has to consider that mental wellness, mental health, general stability, that must be taken into consideration if one were to just sort of bring it out of the Enneagram and this discussion per se and back into the real world and what's apparently a crisis in the world at the moment. And it really is and must be taken seriously. I think what we are talking about is more aspirational energies and awareness and awareness around the subtleties of energy, and which which is, I think, a beautiful exploration. But the base is that, or the place that we start from, is that everybody is basically healthy. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And in that response to our woundings through the Enneagram, or to society, which isn't always, it doesn't always have our best interest at heart. We need to find ourselves and connect to that inner source of energy, harmonizing, to who we really are, and knowing that maybe that it is and part of the experience.
And harmonizing our physical body, our mental body, our emotional body, our psychological body, so that's from nutrition to exercise to sleep to work-life integration to connection with other people to, it's all that stuff that everybody's talking about on Instagram,
Yes. Do you think, in your experience, there are any of the lead types, or maybe the groups of body, head, or heart, that has a easier integrational movement, if that's a thing, easier to harmonize or to connect with themselves, or the energy in themselves?
That is a really great question. And I think that the answer is absolutely no. I don't think that any type has it easier or simpler or less challenging or less painful. I think what is different is that different types express their experience of pain and or suffering differently. And some are obviously more expressive than others, and sexual instinct dominance tend to be a bit more dramatic, whereas self-praise tend to be a bit more anxious and sort of practical. So there's all of that.
Yeah.
But I think also what it would more depend on is how traumatic versus psychologically safe, and then it becomes this big spectrum, was that person's life, childhood, development, etc. Because how healthy are they, I think, would be much more of a determining factor.
Yeah. Because we don't connect to these lead types in our childhood. We are born with them. Is that the theory?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. We pretty much born with them, and then we kind of practice them unknowingly all our lives. I mean, if you go back to, I don't know about you, but I think if you had sort of aged, 40 or 35 or whatever, go back and say to your parent or parents, describe me as a kid or show me some home videos, or I think you pretty much find you do kind of fit the mold,
Yeah. And it's possibly not noticed, because through this process of life we become more aware of the individualism, that individuation that Jung talks about. We move into that more, and we can go, oh, that's what it was, or this is what I recognize.
Exactly. And that's the fun and the joy of learning the Enneagram, especially with friends or with colleagues or whatever, because also it does trigger lots of memories. Especially if you shifted into perhaps a calmer mindset, or perhaps a more vocal way of operating, or however we've grown over the years. But we can also cast our minds back to when we were pretty quintessential versions of our type,
Yeah. That's true. And I love how you put it together, and all the amazing things that you do with it. I know you take groups through this journey as well, personal mastery and connecting to that lead type, which is part of harmonizing, to life's energies, once you get to connect to that energy from inside.
Yeah, definitely. It's powerful stuff. It's beautiful.
Yeah,
And to shift like that is stunning.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Saffron, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. As always, I love talking to you and I love talking about the Enneagram. So thank you to
Yeah,
everybody listening.
me too. And I love energy. It's all around us. It's all, we are energy, and there's a lot of energy in the Enneagram, and how we respond through our lead types or subtypes, and all these things kind of influence the awareness we can have in who we are and why we see the world as we do.
Exactly. And what's important to us and what we need and why. And it's just profound. I agree with you. Everything is energy and energy is everything. And I think if we can appreciate rather than judge and or doubt other people's energy, that's just amazing in terms of teamwork, families, connections, people understanding and trusting one another more. Yeah, it's exactly what I teach on my program. So thank you very much, Michelle,
Thank
as
you.
well. Thank
Thank
you.
you so much. Curiosity above judgment is always my thing.
Yes,
So
yes,
thank you.
exactly. Thank you.
We'll chat again next month.
Yes, great. Thank you
Thank
very much.
you.
Take
Bye.
care. Bye-bye. Bye.